This was the most ultimates used in an Overwatch team fight ever. The year was 2019, Season 2 of the Overwatch League, London Spitfire versus Washington Justice in Stage 1. Two teams struggling with the new GOATS meta. GOATS was a team comp that had no DPS. Back in the days of Overwatch 1, if you didn't know, which most of you probably do, there was 2 tanks, 2 supports, and 2 DPS. 6v6, not 5v5. And a bunch of teams realized that you actually didn't need a DPS to do damage. So instead, people would run 3 tanks and 3 supports. Reinhardt or Winston, depending on the map, d.va, Zarya, Zenyatta, Brigitte, and Lucio. Always, everywhere. Teams would try to find ways to beat it, but it just was never successful. You could almost view it like Zenyatta and Zarya were the DPS of the comp, being the heavy damage dealers. A big part of it was Zenyatta's Discord orb. That being said, that does remove a lot of nuance from how the comp was played and how all of the abilities from every character functioned into each other. Now, the thing to understand is that the GOATS meta lasted for about a year and a half. And at its peak, because of this meta lasting so long, that even though it was repetitive, when GOATS was played at the highest level, because teams had been playing it for so long, day in, day out, the same composition, that when you had 2 very good teams clashing, it was surgical, methodical, very calculated team fights of 2 teams basically trying to outsmart each other. It got to a point where nobody could out-mechanic each other. You just had to outbrain the enemy team. And so it resulted in a lot of really awesome plays and really awesome matches that, even looking back, I still think are some of the best Overwatch League matches ever played. But when you had bad teams who struggled to master the composition, it just looked like 2 teams hitting each other with wet noodles for a few minutes until they just happened to stumble upon a kill. And I think that this team fight that we're going to look at is just a shining example of how bad this comp could be at its lows. So now what I'm going to do is I am just going to play this minute-and-a-half long team fight, and then we will go through and break down how this happened.
And now, last fight incoming, last chance for London to take this opening map.
Nice touch by Fury, nick of time makes it. Now they're gonna go ahead, straight in, streaming in one after another. Great focus fire coming through here, applying maximum pressure to Gesture. He will be able to back off in time, however, the rally thrown in by Prophet. Guido's gonna cancel that out with a trance of his own, trying to buy time for his teammates to get those support ultimates online. And now it's just a standoff. Who's gonna crack first?
That's Birdwing's time to shine. He's gonna get that grab on several words of follow-up there. It is not quite there. This is reminiscent of how London lost fights earlier. Just no follow-up on their big ultimates. Fury's gonna actually toss it in and Fury eats Corey's grab, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's big. Grab gets eaten for the Justice, so no big follow-up there, but Genesis still got his trance. Well, he's got the Shatter as well. Throws that out, doesn't find a target. Doshin already had the trance going, so he doesn't care. He's keeping everybody topped up. Self-destruct thrown over the top, and it could find one. No, the shield is up for Janice. And this is just still the standoff between both of these teams, but London, with that sound barrier, looking to end this fight.
Shatter. Such sustain. There's no one is dying anywhere on this. Birdwing's got another grab, the second into the fight. Gonna catch several again. Follow-up still not quite there. Transcendence able to keep him alive. And now finally someone dies, and it happens to be Prophet.
Ooh, the big wipeout. Washington, they held it for so long. The win is instant.
That was pretty ridiculous, right? Now, I want to clarify before we go any further that these players were not bad. Janice and Jester were considered some of the best Reinhardt players early on in professional Overwatch. Corey went on to be considered the best Hanzo and Widowmaker in this season, and won the World Cup with Team USA later this year. And Prophet, Erdring, and Fury all played professional Overwatch up until 2022-2023, and have been considered the best players of all time in their roles for a very long time. The issue is, you could have 6 God's gift to esports, prodigy, Jesus Christ, mechanically gifted players of all time on a team. If you guys were not constantly on the same page, all perfectly executing at the same time, in a mirror, nothing in this comp would ever die. There was so much shielding, so much damage mitigation, so many Zarya bubbles, so much just raw sustain, that you were just not going to get kills if you weren't constantly on the same page. Now, number one big thing in GOATS was combos. You had to, a lot of the time, to get successful team wipes, hit really, really, really good combos, and also bait things. So one really common one was Reinhardt Shatter with a D.va Bomb, or even a Zarya Grav with a D.va Bomb, or breaking shield so that you get a free Ryan Shatter into Zen headshotting everyone if he's at a good angle. All of these things, you had to be always trying to set something up with another teammate because of the amount of stain and shielding and damage mitigation. Just generally, like the Zen, it was very rare that the Zen would just randomly find a kill, or the Zarya would just randomly find a kill. Actually, at one point in this team fight, you can see Corey get really, really low, and Fury tries to go finish the kill. But unfortunately, even though d.va does do a good bit of damage, there's just so much that can save Corey at that HP pool that he just cannot finish the kill on his own. So it was very common that high-level teams would find ways to set up for shatter bombs, for shatter grabs, for getting their Zen in a perfect position to shoot people in a grab. And when you're not constantly looking for those opportunities and you're just trying to throw out ults and hope that something works, which is like what a lot of these D.va bombs and grabs are, then this is obviously a big thing that's going to happen. So off the bat, Jester and Birdring should already be communicating to each other that they have a win con, and it looks like they're ready to push on it. Prophet pops his rally, which is an indicator that they want to walk forward, and Jester goes alley-oops, looks for a flank shatter before Birdring has his grab ready, and there you go. Guido transes it anyways, but the thing is even if you were to hit that shatter grab, at that point, Jester could pin the Lucio or the Brig and get that kill through trans. But unfortunately, Jester just pulls the pin too early because he thinks he sees a shatter. And even if this shatter had been successful, because the timing would not have been perfect for the grab, it probably wouldn't have resulted in any kills. So Jester just gets a little too quick, not waiting for Birdring to be ready to follow up on that combo. And I'm not in their comms, I don't know what they're saying, so I'm not even sure if they're looking for this combo, but I would assume that they at least know that has to kind of be a win con, but they whiff that. Now Guido actually makes a mistake here because Janice had blocked the shatter anyway, so Guido never needed to use trans. I think he was scared that the shatter would have hit, or he assumed that Birdring was going to time the grab correctly, so he just wanted to play it safe. But this actually leaves Justice open to not having trans, and now Birdring has that grab. So they do the right thing and wait for the trans to end so that Birdring can throw that grab. But here you see another example of these players not being on the same page, because Fury sees Corey a little bit out of position and decides that he thinks he can get that kill. And the instant Fury decides to commit to that is when Birdring throws out that grab. So you're missing a big chunk of your damage coming in from micro missiles. And yeah, even though you separated the Zarya, that's really not the goal in GOATs, to just separate one person, because most of the time anyways, you're not going to get that kill, and you're losing a lot of your front load pressure. And so you can see nothing happens here. I mean, barely any damage goes out, and Corey goes back and he lives. He's perfectly safe. So one mistake compounds into another mistake from the other team, which compounds into another mistake from the other team, and nothing has happened. There's been no synergy and no actual execution on a plan together. There's just been ults thrown out with the hope that they'll succeed. Now next, going in, Corey just throws his grab back, hoping that they'll be able to aggress on the big ult waste from London, but Fury eats the grab. That's just, that happens sometimes. Fury makes a great heads-up play. Now, here is a huge misplay from London. They should know that Sansam is here super low. He has the Discord orb on him. They were just shooting him. They know that Sansam is here. Corey has just used both of his bubbles, right? London have Transcendence. So if I'm London here, I'm walking through the team to that D.va so that I can finish the D.va. But instead, they just hang back and then use the Transcendence reactively to Yanis' Shatter, that also doesn't hit anything. Now, that's another thing, a win con about GOATs, is that a lot of the times people will get low, and obviously a bad example is when Fury chased Corey to try to finish the kill alone. But in a situation like that, when you guys are all together and you have Transcendence to bail you out if you go too far, you have to take that risk and go for the DMAC on that D.va, because once you get that, the entire team fight has opened. They had the Discord Orb on him. He was 1 HP. He didn't have boosters. There was a lot less resources to save him, but they don't go for it. Now, obviously, that was from London's perspective, but then if you look at this from Justice's perspective, this shatter that Janus throws out is just really, it accomplishes nothing. He's hoping that he can catch Bedosian here and go for the pin, but obviously Bedosian has trans, and I didn't see the projected barrier from Zarya be used, so that's something you always have to consider when you want to go for those solo pins as Reinhardt. But now, both of these teams are back to square one. They've fumbled for nothing, and Fury just throws a grab into the air. No thought. He's hoping it'll just get a kill. These teams are so desperate for something because nothing has happened. Then London throws out this beat after the nothing bomb, and they're really like, what are you trying to accomplish with this beat? If you look at it, I can maybe see a vision because the support line is actually kind of separated from the tank line, and you could probably cut this off if you execute correctly, but they beat and then they go towards the tank line instead of the support line. If you had gone on this really, really fast, you might have actually been able to kill Otto or Guido. Guido is super close to trans, so that one's a little more but you go for Otto, you probably get that kill on the brig, but instead, they go for the tank line and just let the supports rotate back to their team. And I understand that maybe if you go on the support line, you're scared that they'll just, the tanks will collapse on your back line. But again, this is GOATS. You can't just play it safe every single time because at the end of the day, everything in theory is safe. You have so much sustain that you kind of have to take these risks to get any value. But both of these teams, they're just scared to do anything super risky, whilst also being the most risky possible with these just yeet ults. Now this bomb from Sansam is fine because that's just him trying to get his mech back. They do actually get a successful DMAC, but that's also because Sansam just kind of feeds. He doesn't really have any reason to fly into the team here, but he does, he has Discord Orb, he just flies up here when he could have just sat behind the drum. I don't really know why he did that. But maybe he was just looking for the bomb anyway, which in this case, it's a little more egregious. But he goes for the bomb. That's not going to get anything. And Birdring throws out another grav. Mind you, he threw out this grav while Gesture needed to block this Sansam bomb. So, literally nothing could have happened here. Gesture couldn't have looked for a pin. He couldn't have swung on this. All of the team is trying to avoid the bomb, and you throw out a grav that's going to end by the time the bomb goes off. So, I mean, literally nobody on this team is on the same page. And then finally, Corey hits a grav. Sansam has a good angle to just drill missiles into this brig, and it finally results in a kill. And this was good because, like I said, even though this wasn't a combo, one character was just in a really good position to get a lot of damage without any of the defensive ultimates in the way. And then obviously the rest falls apart because one kill is all you need to open up that team fight and charge really aggressively into them and finish them all off. And yeah, that is an unfortunate. Both of these teams were just really, really poor examples of how to play GOATs, and it was sad to watch, though also violently entertaining. I hope you guys enjoyed that analysis. If you want to watch the rest of this match, it's a pretty entertaining match if you like fests of nothing happening. So I will link it in the description. And if you like this, I would love to do more analysis of professional Overwatch. I think that going back and watching really old stuff like this is super cool because I know there are so many players who just came in for Overwatch 2 that were not around for egregious stuff like this. So I would love to be able to highlight a bunch of stuff that I have a lot of nostalgia for. I've been playing Overwatch since 2016. I was around for all of this. All the way to the end of the video. I really, really appreciate it. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that would mean the world to me. Additionally, I stream 4 or 5 times a week over on twitch.tv/OWHippo if you want to come pop by live and say hello. I also have a Discord server where you can come to stay updated on when I'll be live and when I'm uploading on YouTube. Other than that, thank you again, and have a wonderful day or night.
This has been a Hippo Overwatch production.